Right, picture this. You're scrolling online, you see a jacket you like, and it's £80. You almost close the tab. Then you see it. 4 payments of £20, interest-free. Suddenly it doesn't feel like an £80 jacket anymore. It feels like a £20 jacket. Same item, same total. So your brain just did something very strange with the maths. And that's before we even get into what happens when you've got 3 or 4 of these running at once across different apps, and none of them can see each other. If you're someone who's used Klarna, ClearPay, or PayPal's Pay in 3 and told yourself, it's fine, it's not really debt, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Here's the assumption I want to challenge straight away. The idea that buy now, pay later isn't real borrowing, because it's interest-free, split into small chunks and approved in about 4 seconds at checkout. It doesn't feel like credit, it feels like a discount, it feels like a clever way of managing your money, but structurally, it's a loan. You're receiving goods now and paying later. The fact that it's interest-free on the standard plans doesn't change what it is. It changes how it's marketed. And the numbers on this have genuinely surprised me. Research from the FCA's Financial Lives survey found that the BNPL market grew from something like £60 million back in 2017 to over £13 billion by 2024. That's not gradual growth. That's an explosion. And by their most recent figures, roughly 1 in 5 UK adults, something like 10.9 million people, had used a buy now, pay later product in the space of just 12 months. Some industry estimates suggest BNPL now makes up somewhere around 8% of all UK payments. This has gone from a niche checkout gimmick to a genuine pillar of how this country spends money in under a decade. And here's the bit that I think most people watching this don't know. Up until very recently, none of this was regulated in the same way as a credit card or a personal loan, which means right up to the 15th of July 2026, a lender offering you buy now, pay later through a third party didn't have to run the same affordability checks a bank would. They didn't have to give you the same clarity on what happens if you miss a payment. And if something went wrong, you had far weaker rights to complain or get your money back compared with, say, a credit card purchase. The FCA is finally bringing this under proper oversight. But that only applies going forward. Anything you've already signed up for before that date stays under the old rules. Let's do the maths, because this is where it gets uncomfortable. Say you're using BNPL sensibly in your head just for the odd bigger purchase. A £200 sofa cushion set split 4 ways at £50 a fortnight, fine on its own. But most people using these apps aren't running a plan. They're running several at the same time across different providers, because each one only shows you your commitments within that single app. So maybe you've also got a £120 dress on a separate provider, £45 a fortnight for 6 weeks, and a £300 laptop accessory bundle on a third, £75 a fortnight. Individually, every single one of those looks completely manageable. Add them together and you've suddenly got roughly £170 leaving your account every fortnight for the next month and a half, none of which shows up as debt on a single dashboard anywhere. That's £340 a month in commitments that most people couldn't tell you the total of if you asked them right now. So why does this happen to sensible, careful people? This is genuinely about how your brain processes pain, and I mean that almost literally. There's a well-documented concept in behavioural economics called the pain of paying. Handing over cash, or even seeing a big number leave your account in one go, triggers a small aversive response. It feels bad, and that bad feeling is actually part of what stops us from overspending. What BNPL does, very deliberately, is break that single moment of pain into 4 or 6 much smaller moments, spaced out over time. Each individual payment is small enough that it barely registers. Researchers sometimes call this payment decoupling. You've decoupled the moment of getting the thing from the moment of properly feeling what it cost you. Layer onto that a psychological quirk called mental accounting, where our brains treat 4 lots of £20 as a fundamentally different, smaller feeling category than 1 lot of £80. Even though anyone doing the actual arithmetic can see they're identical. Your rational brain knows the total. Your spending brain doesn't feel it. Think of it a bit like eating from a big bag of crisps versus eating from 4 small snack-sized bags across a day. Same amount of crisps, same amount of salt and calories, but it feels completely different because your brain resets its sense of how much have I had every time a new little bag opens. BNPL does that with your money. Every fresh checkout screen is a new little bag. Your brain forgets to add it to last week's pile. Now you might be thinking, but it's interest-free, so what's the actual harm? I'm not paying extra for the privilege. And with standard on-time plans, that's often true. You genuinely don't pay more, provided everything goes to plan. But 2 things sit underneath that. First, missed payments on plenty of these products can trigger late fees and, depending on the provider, can be reported in ways that affect your credit file, which matters enormously if you're trying to get a mortgage in the next few years and a lender sees a pattern of multiple concurrent BNPL agreements. Second, and I think more importantly, the harm isn't really about interest at all. It's about the fact that BNPL actively hides your total level of commitment from you, spread across products that don't talk to each other in a way a single credit card statement never would. The cost isn't extra pounds. The cost is losing visibility over your own financial position. So what do you actually do about this practically, starting today? Number 1, build yourself a single shadow ledger. One note on your phone, one spreadsheet, doesn't matter where. Every single BNPL commitment you currently have goes on one page with the amount, the date it's due, and which provider it's with. Most people have never seen their total exposure in one place. Once you do, you often can't unsee it. Number 2, before you check out with any BNPL option, force yourself to say the full price out loud, not the installment. Not, it's 4 payments of £20. Say, this is an £80 jacket. That tiny act reconnects the decision to the real number your brain is trying to avoid. Number 3, cap yourself at one active BNPL plan at a time. Not one per provider, one, full stop across everything. If you want to open a new one, the rule is that the old one has to be finished first. Number 4, treat every BNPL agreement exactly like a mini direct debit and put the payment dates straight into your banking app's calendar or reminders, the same way you would with rent or a phone bill. Because right now, most people are relying on an app notification days before the money leaves, which is exactly the kind of thing that gets missed when life gets busy. And number 5, especially relevant right now, from the 15th of July 2026, providers offering these third-party BNPL agreements have to run proper affordability checks and give you much clearer upfront information before you commit. That's a genuinely good thing for anyone using it going forward. But it also means anything you've already signed up for before, that date won't automatically benefit from those new protections. So it's worth actually checking your existing agreements rather than assuming the new rules retroactively cover you. Now here's what I think is the really interesting part, the bit that changes how you should think about this entire category of spending. Buy now, pay later isn't dangerous because any single purchase on it is dangerous. A £50 pair of shoes split into 4 payments genuinely isn't going to wreck anyone's finances. It's dangerous because it's designed, whether deliberately or just as a side effect of good conversion rate design, to be invisible at the point where visibility matters most, the moment right before you spend. Every other form of borrowing you've ever used has some built-in friction that makes you pause. A credit card application takes days. A loan needs a conversation. Buy now, pay later takes 4 seconds and a fingerprint. The friction that used to protect you from overcommitting has been engineered out of the process entirely. Most of us haven't updated our own internal alarm system to compensate for that. So if you take one thing away from this video, let it be this. It was never really about whether you can afford the £20 instalment. It's about whether you know what you actually owe right now across everything this week. Most people genuinely don't, not because they're careless with money, but because the products are built in a way that makes that number deliberately hard to see. Building that one habit, writing the whole picture down in one place, costs you nothing and takes about 5 minutes, and it will tell you more about your real financial position than almost anything else you could do today. If this helped you see your own spending a bit differently, hit subscribe, because I'm covering exactly this kind of hidden in plain sight money psychology every week. And if you've got a buy now, pay later habit you've never actually added up, do it this week. I'd genuinely love to hear in the comments what the real total came to when you did.